Here's a question you've probably wondered about before. Do avoidant people care when you are gone? If so, when do they start to care? I get this question all the time from anxiously attached people or just people who have had an avoidantly attached partner and now the relationship is over. You might have had a big fight. Maybe they just ghosted you and they're out, but you know they're out and you wonder, are they missing me as much as I'm missing them? You might be dealing with heartache right now. You might be dealing with eating a tub of ice cream, at least emotionally. That's what a lot of us feel when we feel left behind. Being left behind sucks, and we at least want to know that we meant something to the other person, even if they're not coming back. It's a terrible feeling to think everything was a lie or that the other person had no idea what you meant to them. So let me tell you this, if you have felt this before, or if you're feeling it now, today I'm going to show you what that avoidant person is probably thinking and why. This can help you get them back sometimes, or other times it can help you move on in peace because you finally have closure about what they're experiencing. For those of you who are new to the channel, I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist. I help people build great relationships. Today, I'm going to be the detachment specialist, helping you move on from a partner in the past. Closure is a huge part of making peace with your past history or with people who have accidentally or even intentionally hurt you, so you need to be able to move on from that avoidant person. A big part of that is just understanding. When we have a traumatic or painful experience, our brain tries to understand how to make sure this never happens again. And to get there, we have to have the information. So today, if you are hurting from an avoidant person, and if you want to find that peace, that connection, that bond with a new partner in the future, or maybe even figure out what your avoidant partner is doing and if they're ever going to come back because they actually miss you, this is the video for you. Let's discuss today what they've been thinking, what they're probably thinking now, and why this has happened, and what you should do next. So if you're trying to make sense of an avoidant person, number one, you're not alone. Only 25% of the American population is avoidantly attached. The other 75% are very, very different. They function different. They think different. Even their neurochemistry is different, okay? So you might be wondering, what the hell is my avoidant person thinking? For example, they might be obsessed with risk focus. They might have said, you know what? I'm sorry, I just can't meet your needs in this relationship. And you're like, but you've never even asked what my needs are. You don't even know what they are. We've never even talked about them. How do you know you can't meet them? They might have said, you know what? You just need somebody who's different from me. You need somebody who's better than me. And you're like, no, you're perfect. You're exactly what I need. They might have said something like, we just want different things. And you might be thinking, from day one, we have talked about exactly the same things. What is this? They may have been super connected and super bonded and super into you, especially for those first 5 months. But then all of a sudden at 5, 6, 7 months, it tapered off. It started to die. They pulled away. You have no idea. And at 7, 8, 9 months, they start talking about, hey, maybe monogamy's not for me. Maybe this isn't a right fit. You know what? Maybe you need somebody better. It's clearly not going to work. And at a year, when you're thinking about getting married, they're thinking about splitting up. And they're like, sorry, I'm out. And you have no idea what just happened. What is going on with these people? What is going on with these estimated 25% of people right now? Okay, let's examine their core wound first so you see where this thinking comes from. You've probably heard them say a few things over and over, like, nobody's coming to help me. It's just me against the world. I can't rely on anybody. Nobody has time for my feelings. Feelings are pointless. Let's just get through this experience. You know what? It's just pain. You might have heard them say these things. You might have also heard them say, this risk doesn't make sense to me. I'm not going to get anything out of my investment in this relationship. And you think, what are you doing? Investing in stocks? Is this Bitcoin? Like, this is love. What are you thinking? These behaviors make sense in light of their core wound, okay? What makes a person avoidant? Somebody in their core life, in their childhood, being arbitrary, being hurtful, being unavailable, not taking their needs seriously, not caring about them. Somebody somewhere taught them that nobody else is reliable, no one else is going to give two bits about what they think or care about their feelings, and that other people are going to be too wrapped up in their own selfishness, their own stress, whatever it is, to actually take care of them. So they've learned they have to take care of themselves, and they have to build a boundary between themselves and other people. They might have learned that other people will overwhelm and smother them with their needs. A lot of avoidant men in particular who come into my coaching, they had really anxious, very stressed out moms, and he felt like he had to take care of her so that she would do her job as a mom so that he could survive as a kid. It was a survival adaptation to take care of a woman's arbitrary feelings, and now the last thing he wants to do is get in a relationship where he has to take care of somebody's feelings and then be disregarded. Even if you're not disregarding him, he's probably going to feel like you might. He's going to be concerned that you might. He's not going to know how to actually get benefits from you in a good, loving, intimate kind of way. It's going to be a swap. I will deal with this, and in return, you will give me this pleasure. That's generally what they're thinking, okay? Get on this pathway called the dopamine cortisol pathway, where they are flooded with cortisol all the time. Now, this keeps them amped up at a constant elevated performance where they are endlessly tracking for fear, threats, risk, danger. Cortisol is supposed to release into your system when there's a danger around you so that you're hypervigilant. But they're hypervigilant all the time about everything. It almost looks like trauma, and in fact, some of them do have trauma, but this is one of many trauma symptoms they might be exhibiting, that hypervigilance all the time, tracking endlessly. They're always aware of it. They can never relax. They can never stop the buzzing in their brain. So when you're trying to hold them, you're laying down holding them, you're like, this feels good. And they're like, buzzing, right? Stressed out in their bed, and it's going night. That's why. That's why they can't ever relax. But then the only thing they can do to numb that is blending it in with dopamine. It's got to feel good. They don't have the other brain chemistry that they need. The oxytocin, the vasopressin, the GABA, the serotonin. I've talked about these endlessly on so many of my videos. If you're new to this channel, I recommend you check out my video, The Biochemistry of Avoidant Attachment Style. It will show you exactly the brain chemicals that these avoidant people are needing. They're not bad people. Their brain chemistry is designed for survival from people who never took care of them properly. Okay. They get reinforced over the years as they chase off healthy, stable people who are like, what is this person doing? And they never connect with stable people. They only connect with unstable people who are going to use them, who are going to try to get stuff out of them, who are going to collapse into them and say, please take care of me. So they keep connecting to insecurely attached people. It just keeps reinforcing they can't trust anybody. Nobody else has discipline. Nobody else has a moral character. It's just me against the world. Endlessly on and on and on, reinforced forever. This is why they are risk obsessed, by the way, because it's just them against the world. If you took a chimpanzee and ripped him away from his family, threw him in the middle of the jungle, surrounded him and like all these tigers and leopards and everything through the jungle, and you're like, all right, chimp, here's a rock, here's a sharp rock, survive for 50 years in this jungle. That's what the mentality you get with avoidantly attached people is, I am a lone wolf in the jungle surrounded by predators. I have to be smart, fast, sharp, and survive. Okay? Risk is everything they know. What this looks like is on the outside, they never get fully connected. They never share everything. They keep information super close to the chest. See, other humans are the predators. Other humans are maybe even stupid flailing chimps that are going to come along and get in their way and then get them both eaten. Other people are a liability. Other people are a danger. Everything is a risk. Marriage is a risk. Commitment's a risk. Everything's a risk. And these guys are some of the biggest risk takers on the planet. Don't get me wrong. They are not cowards. Okay? They're not fearful cowards. But they have to see benefit. And they also can't get benefit. They can't get it. Even if they're with the most loving, intimate, warm, nurturing, feminine woman on the face of the planet, they cannot properly bond in relationships to receive it. Okay? It's like a vending machine. It accepts $1 bills. If you walk up and put $1,000 bill in that vending machine, it's going to reject it and say, that's garbage. Give me back a $1 bill. That's avoidantly attached people. They're primed to look for $1 dopamine, not $1,000 oxytocin. Now, look, is this a sad and lonely way to live? Yes. But right now, we're not focusing on the avoidantly attached people, okay? We're focusing on you. You have experienced sadness. You have experienced loss. You have experienced abandonment. You have experienced them pulling away, and you don't know why. You don't understand why. You don't get why they did this. They are a lone wolf in the jungle, a lone chimp with a sharp stick, surrounded by leopards and tigers. And in reality, it's a hallucination in their head from your perspective. And you're just like two happy chimps on a stroll holding hands in a well-lit forest with no predators within 50 miles. And they're like, whoa, we're going to die. And you're like, no, like that's a flower. And then they run off screaming into the trees like, you're going to get me killed. You're like, what? That's why. This is what you've experienced, okay? Now, the core of this video is, do avoidant people care? And the avoidant men who come into my coaching, they jokingly refer to some of these videos as, are avoidant men even human? Because I make videos that people ask questions of. And I completely understand the joke there. Are avoidant men even human? Yes, absolutely. Do they experience love? Absolutely. Do they experience pain? 100%. Are they horrific, manipulative monsters? Well, maybe some of them, but the vast majority of them, no. Okay? But right now, you are experiencing pain. at the willing or unwilling hands of an avoidant man who may or may not understand that they hurt you, or woman. An avoidant woman may have also hurt you. Plenty of guys on this channel have been with avoidant women. I know that. They're not just victims, okay? They also accidentally cause a great amount of pain for others, and they don't understand that. Sometimes they break up with you, or they discard your love. That $1,000 bill, they're like, nope, $1 only, please, not this garbage. And they don't really know what they're losing. They also run away sometimes, okay? They leave, they bail out. They really screw up. And here's what an avoidant person is thinking as they're breaking up with you. I'm getting nothing out of this. This is stressful. I'm going to be so much happier when I have freedom. I'm going to feel so much better when I can get my needs met. I don't have to meet their needs anymore. They can go find somebody else. They'll find somebody that'll be great. They'll be happy. It's cool. It's just not me. I'm so excited to get back on the market. I'm so happy to be doing what I'm going to do and be free. It's going to be great. Right? That's what they're thinking. Like, I get to go have dopamine and I will have less stress in my life because it's just me surviving, not dragging another chimp. This is what they're thinking as they're heading into the breakup. Sometimes there's a part of them that's like, I wonder if I'm making a mistake here. And so they track endlessly. They're like, is there something I'm missing? I don't know. Those brain chemicals, they only get those two, dopamine, cortisol. They don't get the oxytocin bonding, you guys. They don't get the warmth, intimacy. They don't have a serotonin association, so they don't feel balanced, sated, joyful, satisfied. They don't feel that, right? They don't get the vasopressin bonding that I've talked about so many times on this channel. They don't get that. They don't have the GABA, so their cortisol is just constantly high and flooding all the time. They just get the cortisol and dopamine. So they're looking forward to dopamine, and they're looking forward to getting rid of some cortisol. Okay? Now, do they hate you? No. Avoidantly attached people don't really hate anyone. They assume everybody in the world is going to let them down, so they don't usually personalize it. This is also why they don't usually hold grudges. When you let them down, they usually get mad at themselves for letting you in, for even having hope. They might get a little mad at you at the moment and be frustrated and it vents at you, but then they'll say, I'm just mad at myself for even trusting a human. And you're like, what? Why? They beat themselves up for having ever trusted you, ever. Any human. They don't usually bother holding grudges because, of course, people are going to let them down. Now, if they were the one who ran away at 7 months, okay? At 7 months, they probably are thinking like, man, it feels so good to be out. I'm exploring my life. I'm having fun. The dopamine is flowing. Oh, I don't have to take care of feelings anymore. But they, again, part of their brain might be thinking like, I wonder if I missed something. Why does this always happen? Why does this always happen? This is where a lot of avoidant people come into coaching with me, or they join my attachment circle mentorship community. They pop in, they're like, Adam, why does this always happen? Why is it always like 6, 7 months I lose full interest and life becomes unbearable? Why? And why do other people love it at 7 months? Why am I miserable? They start usually wondering. It's like, oh, relief. And then why? Big why. Now, if they ran away after a fight, they're probably thinking like, oh man, that person's so mad at me. They're flooded with cortisol. They're mad. I'm not going to talk to them for a while. I just got to let them cool down. They think you only have cortisol and dopamine as well. So they're like, well, maybe I'll send some stuff to make them feel good with dopamine, or I'll just leave it alone and let the cortisol come down and then give them some dopamine. They might come back a little bit later and give you some dopamine to see if you're happy. You probably won't be. You're going to be like, what the hell? And they're going to be like, whoa. Why is this happening? Why are you holding a grudge against me? Oh, I guess everyone holds grudges. Okay, whatever, guy. That's their thinking. Now, if they took off after that fight and you chased, they're probably thinking, why is this person not regulated? Why aren't they taking care of their emotions? Why are they out of whack? Why do I have to take care of your feelings? Why am I responsible for how you feel? Why can't you take care of yourself? When you chase them, whoo. Big problem, because now it's you demanding something from them, and it feels arbitrary, and it feels like they're never going to get a benefit for doing it. It feels like you're demanding they cater to you, coercively soothe you. Okay? Now, if you haven't had contact with them in a while, their cortisol plummets, usually pretty quick. And then they might start wondering. Okay? Like, well, I wonder what they're doing. I wonder where they're at. Again, they don't hate you. They don't bother usually for a long time. They might if they blame you for some things, or if they have massive problems, if it's more than just avoidance. But if it's just avoidance, the cortisol wears off pretty quick, a week or 2, maybe 3. And then they do care. They start to kind of miss you usually. They're like, wow, I kind of miss that person. We had some good times. Things were interesting. Things were cool. I wonder what they're going to do. I wonder where they're at. I wonder how they're feeling. They'll start looking at your Instagram page. You'll be like, whoa, they watched my story. What the heck? Why are they watching every single story every single day the moment I post it, but never leaving comments? This is kind of creepy, right? And you're like, why are they stalking me on every platform? And they're always right there the moment I post. They must have notifications turned on. But why? Why are they circling me like a weird jungle predator? And they're like, I wonder how they're feeling. I wonder if they would call. I wonder if I reached out to them, if they'd be mad at me or if we're good to talk again. That's usually what they're thinking. They circle. They ask questions. They come back. They post. They might say, hey, how you doing? Hey, it's been a while. What are you doing? Hey, I thought of you. Hey, I sent you this gift. They might send you some dopamine. They might mail you a bag of dopamine, basically. Okay? This is called circling back. They might circle back. Many avoidant people do circle back. Sometimes they circle back in good faith because they actually want to reconnect. Sometimes they circle back like a bee rotating between multiple flowers, and you happen to be the next flower in line to rotate back to and check on. Okay? So what should you do? Well, here's how to tell that you should try again. You talk with them. You might say, hey, it's good to talk to you. How are things with you? See what things have changed. See, and you could ask them, has anything changed? You and I, things weren't great last time we talked. Has anything changed for you? It's okay to ask them that. The most manipulative and avoidant and freak out kind of people will run. But again, the healthier ones, they actually track risk. So they recognize you're tracking risk. You can learn to track risk. You can learn to talk about tracking risk. Okay. Hey, you know what? Last time you and I talked, it wasn't great. So before I invest in this again, has anything changed on your end? Can you talk to me about that? Really great way to do it. Hey, you know what? You're coming back. Can I ask what it is you're looking for in a relationship now? Well, just to talk and be friends. Okay. Why? You can ask questions. The more questions you ask, honestly, the better things are. Because the healthier ones, they'll respond. They understand you're tracking risk. They understand what you're doing. Chasing them emotionally, not good. How to tell when not to try again, by the way. You ask questions and they get angry. They get defensive. You're too afraid to ask questions. So now you're still emotionally unstable and you're going to actually fall into them again. The pattern's going to happen again. If you can't bring yourself to ask those hard questions, really don't reconnect. Really don't reconnect. You make sure that you do your own work first, maybe your attachment work, become more secure and be able to push back and ask questions. Very important that you be able to do that so that you can try again in a way that's actually going to work. Okay. Now, to take it to the next level, and if you do try and they are solid and they're good and you want to give that next try the best chance of succeeding, you need to be able to speak their avoidant language. Okay. You need to understand their risk assessment. You need to understand how to give them the proper brain chemicals, the proper bonding. Do not get back in a relationship with someone who won't work with you to try to build a more intimate relationship. And do not get back in a relationship if you're too afraid to do that work yourself. But if you're both willing, then you must build a more conversational, logical, risk assessing, but also intimate and bonded relationship together. So if that sounds daunting, as long as you're both willing to try, I've got a video course that walks you through the exact steps of what must happen in a relationship to make something work with an avoidant partner, to make it fulfilling for both of you. Even if it hasn't worked before, plenty of people come in, take that course. They're like, Adam, it's our third try. Do you think it'll work? Yeah, it'll work. Go through the course. Adam, this is amazing. I wish we had had this 3 years ago at our first try. We would have been happily married with kids by now. And I say, yeah, okay. Hey, be happy, get married, have kids now, and then pass those skills down to your kids so that they have better relationships. It's incredible. So yes, there's a way of doing this. If you need help, reach out. I've got a resource exactly for you. Biggest takeaway I need you to remember. Avoidant partners think differently from the other 75% of people on the planet. Period. That does not mean, though, that relationships with them are doomed. But you will have to address relationship issues and your partner specifically in a specific way. That's going to be very different, okay? Now that you know what they're thinking through the risk assessment, through tracking risk, through tracking cortisol and dopamine, through knowing something's missing but not being sure what it is, to wondering if they can circle back with you. Now that you understand that, you can adjust your perception and plan better for when they try to reconnect with you. So talk about this with your partner. And this is going to help you as you get reconnected. You can decide if they're the right match for you. You don't have to just be happy that they came back and gave you attention. You don't have to be stuck on them and say, man, I wish they didn't leave me. I don't know what to do. This is terrible. They were so hurtful. Then they come back and you're like, well, I'm just so grateful, but I don't know. It's going to hurt if they leave. It's going to hurt if they come back. What do I do? And then you get hurt again and again. And this is going to stop that cycle, okay? The information I've laid out here today is the beginning of it, but this will stop that cycle. Be aware of those thoughts and then ask them. The right person for you is a person you can have this conversation with and ask them what they're thinking and help get a real answer. The more questions you ask and the more that they answer, the more information you have, the more of a clear indication that may be the right person for you, okay? If questions are met with a wall or evasion or manipulation or anything like that, run. Okay, but if you open up, you build that connection, you can be certain that it may work out this time. You can talk about that with that person. You can build it together. Okay. Now, if you want to see exactly how love must work with an avoidant man in just a couple of hours and how you can get your needs met in return, check out the How to Love an Avoidant Man video course that I built. It's linked down in the description below. I would love you to take that course so that you can get the skills you need and build love. I love love, and I love helping people build it and maintain it and keep it forever. I love families. I love couples. I built that course to make sure couples can stay together and build a loving family for life. So check it out in the description below. And if you would please leave a comment down below. Let me know where you are at in this process. Did your avoidant person leave? Are you still together? Are you devastated from losing them? Are you detoxing from them? Or are you the avoidant partner and you're sitting here going, Adam, what did I miss? What did I lose? Drop down in the comments and let me know. I would love to hear where you're at.